Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Bernie with CG Spectrum. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. Weekend went by too fast as usual for me. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to continue on with this concept. So let me just scroll through some of these layers. It's kind of messy, but you could kind of get an idea of where we or how we started this. Again, this is a concept for a beginner 3D artist. Something that a beginner 3D artist would have no problem, you know, just starting to learn a 3D program with. Alright, so that was our sketch. Basically a penguin that wants to fly and go to the moon. Alright, cool. Give me 1 second here. Hey, what's going on, Martin? How's it going? So yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the title of these streams have changed. It's not the life drawing title anymore. It's concept art, so we will be doing only concept art on this stream from now on. Cool, glad to hear that you're doing well. Alright, so I did change up the eyes here. They're looking a little too small. I just tried it. Oh, I was thinking about adding goggles, but then it looks a little, it might be a little too complex for a beginner 3D artist to do. So I got rid of them. Tried making larger eyes or irises. I think that looks better, a little cuter, right? Anyways, let's continue on with rendering this guy. Not 100% sure how I want to approach the rendering. I'm just going with it because this style is not really the style I'm used to, you know, working in. But yeah, it's always fun to try something new. Martin, what are you working on today? Hey, what's up, Tony? How you doing? Hey, Antonis. I think that's the first time I've seen you on the stream. Maybe I'm wrong, but welcome, Antonis. Yeah, again, I'm gonna leave the background rough like that because Tyler, the other concept art mentor, is going to be working on all the background stuff and the props. But again, I will focus on the character itself. I'm just taking a few minutes to try to get back into this image. It's been a week, so I'm just trying to refocus on what I need to do here. And I'm seeing if I could add more color, more saturation into the colors here. They look a little gray and kind of boring. They're not rich enough, I guess. So I'm trying to mess with the colors a bit. Oh, you're working on a creature design? Awesome, Martin. I'm jealous. Oh, yeah, I remember you told me you were working on some Pokemon type creatures. That's cool. Oh yeah, so I was right, Antonis. It's your first time on stream. Welcome. Yeah, what are your questions, Antonis? I'll try to answer them if I can. Where are you from, by the way? What part of the world? From Greece, cool. I had a student from Greece. She just, yeah, she was actually really talented. But yeah, she decided to become a lawyer. She was doing both actually, the mentorship with CG Spectrum and going to law school at the same time. And she was actually really good at art too, but she decided to be a lawyer instead. So Antonis is saying, I'm currently saving money to start my education on CG Spectrum, and I don't know on which level I should apply for. I'm currently on a University of Fine Arts, and they told me that concept art is trash, so I dropped out. Are you saying that the concept art at that school, at that university, was trash? Or they just said concept art is trash in general? I guess that's what a fine artist would say. I mean, it makes sense because fine artists are, you know, it's a different mindset. It honestly is, right? I mean, if you're going into concept art, you're planning on doing production art. It's in some ways, for a true artist, right? I don't know. Maybe I can't really say that, but it's like selling out, right? It's production art. It's not fine art. They're two different things, right? So I could see why fine artists would look down on concept art or production art. Yeah, so it really depends on what you're shooting for in terms of what your goals are and things like that. Yeah, Antonis says that no, the teachers told me that the field of concept art is trash. That's their opinion, yeah. And then some fine artists work with literal trash, right? To create art, which I think is actually cool. I've done that in the past in college as well. We had to gather trash to create art, which was very, very fun actually. It forced me to become more creative about like how to use you know, different materials. So that was super fun. I actually went to old like old train tracks and I found like a lot of pieces of metal scraps, like a lot of things that had, I guess, fallen on the train tracks and got squished by it. So they were all disfigured or disformed or deformed, right? So yeah, it was fun to work with that. Fine arts is a super elitist field, Martin says. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, again, it's like to each their own, right? I mean, if that's their thing, that's fine. No reason to like trash each other, right? It's fine, you know. They could have their own opinions about whatever. And you know, there's pros and cons to everything, right? With sometimes I wish I could do some fine art, you know what I mean? Like, do whatever I want to create, right? Without someone telling me what to do, right? Yeah. And sometimes that kind of fine art could seem very useless as well, because you're just, you know, doing your own thing. Can people relate to it? Can people really enjoy it? You know, that's debatable. I guess they can, but not all of it, right? It's more like a personal thing most of the times, I would say. But when you're doing production art, a lot of people can relate to it and enjoy it. Like the masses can enjoy your art, right? So it depends. So sorry, to answer your question, Antonis, let's see. Which level should you apply for? Well, what's your, how far did you get into university with the, your art degree? How far along? Like how many years? And you were doing fine art? Hey, Noob Day. How's it going, bro? Big B, is that how you pronounce it? Big B makes art? Hey, what's going on? Nice art, dude. Are you from California like me? I'm seeing a lot of new names today. If you guys are new, let me know how you guys found the stream. Anyways, I'm probably eventually going to get rid of the line work here. So I'm just messing with it to see what it's going to look like eventually. Again, I'm just not used to this style. And so I'm kind of experimenting too here. Yeah, I'll probably leave it like that so I can see it better, what it'll eventually look like. All right. What I'm probably gonna do is I'll just lay everything in and render it, throw in lighting, and then in terms of the overall values, I think I will make adjustments later on. Yeah. I think that's the best way for me, at least, who's not familiar with this approach, to just make value adjustments later on. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit here. Hey Martin, by the way, as I'm doing this, I'm reminded of your art style, which is very clean, right? Is that something like as you're building up your image, you always keep your image super, super clean? Or is that something you do as you render? Like, is that something you clean up as you're rendering, or you always have clean layers like throughout the whole process? Let me know. I'm asking because, like, for me, my process is always a bit messier, and then I clean it up later on. But I would imagine, like, when you're doing like the style of art that you do, or like something like this, it would be smarter to just keep everything clean from the beginning, right? Because it's just more work to clean it up later, I think. And that's what I'm realizing right now. And again, I think the reason why I'm like that is because I'm constantly in the mindset of exploration until, you know, I've settled, right? So like for me, I'm not committing to anything. I'm not committing to the rendering or anything until I, you know, I like something. And at that point, I'm going to start to render or clean up. Not saying one way is better than the other, but just explaining my mindset. Alright, let's do this. To the moon. Hey Noob Day, you're a VFX artist? Awesome. Big B, I don't know what you're talking about. You want me to check your art in your channel? Send it over. Antonis, 6 months, but I finished a college, I guess, on 3D animation, graphic design, and I had taken classes for 6 years to a private studio on fine arts. 6 years in fine arts? Am I reading that correct? That's a long time. Yeah. Well, again, the best advice I can give you is talk to someone at CG Spectrum. Probably, we have people that review portfolios to assess where you're at and give you advice on which program to enroll in, whether it's the intro to concept art or the diploma or advanced concept art programs. So that is my advice to you, is to get a portfolio together, online portfolio, and send it over to CG Spectrum. I'm sure they have like an email on their website. So yeah, contact them and put your link to your portfolio in the email, and they will tell you basically what you should be doing. Yeah, and again, like, look, if you apply to the intro concept art class and you realize it, or you think it's too easy for you, then you could always talk to someone and upgrade to an advanced course, right? So there's some room for flexibility there. What I wouldn't do is go too advanced. To go to advanced if you're an intro like level student, right? Because if you go to an advanced when you're intro, you know, it's just harder for the instructor to tell you, hey, you gotta, you know, you're not fit for this course, you should move down to intro. It's kind of an ego bust, right? But yeah, you could imagine it'd be harder to do. Some instructors will just go along with it, hoping that you'll catch up and get better with time. But again, I think it's ideal if you do go in the appropriate course that fits your skill level. So Antonis, yeah, talk to someone at CG Spectrum. Hey, what's up, Game Animation? Hey, Isaias, I think. He's from the Dominican. Sorry, I shouldn't assume. Isaias is from the Dominican Republic. He said, I don't know how the payments for their courses work. There's a lot of questions about CG Spectrum here, huh? I don't know either. So you got to reach out to someone at CG Spectrum. I would love to tell you to pay me directly, but that's not how it works. Yeah, contact someone at CG Spectrum. Again, look at the website, check the emails. They are very responsive, so just email them, and they will refer you to the right person, okay? Martin says that he always has a clean layer of line work in between the process. That's good. Yeah, that's what I would think. Isaiah, you're asking the same question that Antonis was asking, and I understand it completely. You know, it's a good question. So again, you gotta contact someone at CG Spectrum. They have people there that can assess your portfolio and give you advice on which course to take, which course level to take. All right. And again, if you do end up in the wrong course level, then you could always make adjustments. You just need to talk to the right people, and there is flexibility. I just spilled my drink all over myself. Hold on a second. Martin says, although it's kind of difficult too for me, the methods I've been learning in CG Spectrum. Yeah, because it's different from your style, right? I mean, it's always a challenge to, as a mentor too, to match or to give feedback and critique on a student's work when the student's art style is specific, very specific, right? It's a challenge, but again, there's always things you can learn, like the basics of, I mean, what I try to do is I try to use the basics, the fundamental basics and the principles in art, which applies to basically any style, right? So those are the things I try to emphasize instead of giving on specific feedback on the art style itself, right? That the artist has to figure out. Of course, I mean, I always tell them to look at the right reference, like even style reference, right? Whatever style you are shooting for, to get reference for that. Find that particular style, find artwork for or reference for that particular style that you're shooting for, like at the highest level, and aim for that. Always keep that on the side so you can refer to it and aim for it, right? Make that your goal. And that applies to any style, really. Yeah, that's something really important to do. Like, I don't know why some students don't do that enough, where they have basically an unrealistic expectation of where their art level is at. And sometimes they ask me like, oh, how do I know when I'm good enough to apply for a job, right? And to me, the answer is obvious. You just look at professional artwork. Look at the companies that you want to apply for, look at their artists and the artists' portfolios. Like the people that work there, look at their portfolios and see what level they're at. And if you can't match their worst artwork on their website, you're not ready. You have to at least be at the skill level of their worst artwork. You get what I'm saying? So if you can't be at their worst, you can't even match their worst artwork on their website, then you're not ready. You know what I mean? Of course, you gotta compare yourself to more of a junior artist, right? Don't compare yourself to a senior artist or anyone like that. Compare yourself to the right person, like a junior artist, entry-level artist, and make that the goal at the very least, to surpass them or be at their level. That's what I did before I applied. I made sure that I was, you know, at a similar level as a entry-level artist at my time, which was pretty low compared to, you know, people nowadays, right? I probably wouldn't be able to get a job if at what my level was at back in the day. There's just so much more competition now. But at the same time, you guys have a lot more resources than I did, you know. No one was digital painting like back in the day. I had to learn from another guy at school. Him and I were probably the only ones digital painting, and I learned from him. I met him at the gym, and he taught me how to start. So I got quite lucky there too. Oops. Wrong layer. Oh, what's going on? So yeah, always have sober judgment of your skill level. And having said that, some people, right, some artists, they compare themselves too much to everyone on Instagram and all that, right? And that's not good either. Don't always be going on those sites and comparing yourself. Like I said, just grab a handful of images to be your goal, right? In terms of like the quality standard of your art. But don't compare yourself to everybody on Instagram, because then they're only putting up their best work, right? And everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, don't try to find ways to discourage yourself, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm just gonna be doing some cleanup here for, whoa. What happened there? I think I painted on the wrong layer or something. Yeah, I'm sure I did. Yep. Yeah, again, I'm not used to like being this clean with my artwork. I should try. Let's get rid of that. Antonis is saying, I really want to lay down strong fundamental knowledge so I don't see the advanced course. I don't think that I'm good. Yeah, for sure. What I notice is that a lot of the students that come into the school, like a good amount, they're sorry, I gotta wear some glasses, my eyes are getting tired. Their fundamental skills are lacking. That's quite common to see. So I always emphasize them to do studies on the side, going along with the coursework. So for sure, yeah, if you feel like you're not quite there, definitely don't take the advanced course. No problem, Isaiah. No problem, Antonis. Yeah, Martin. Yeah, early games artwork was pretty amateurish compared to today's concept art. Yeah, I mean, at the same time, like, hey man, you're making me look bad. I'm just kidding, but no, it's true. What you're saying is true, but at the same time, people didn't spend as much like time on the concept art itself back in the day, right? Like they do now. Nowadays they invest a lot more time and energy into the concept art. Back in the day, you know, they spent maybe like half the time on it. A lot of the times it was the 3D artists themselves that were doing the concept art, right? So it's different nowadays. It's just very different. It's a good time. Again, you see that, like, the development of concept art, and it's pretty awesome to see. Like, people are so highly skilled, like, early on now. It's pretty cool to see what young people can do. Add some color into this. Oops. What happened? Yeah, I remember seeing the artwork for the original Doom. Antonis says, yeah, I have compared myself to other artists a lot, but I'm usually having the feeling how I can reach them and become better, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you will get there eventually. It's a matter of time. Everyone just has to put in the miles, you know, the work, and you'll get there. Most of the times people just don't put in the work, you know. That's usually the biggest issue that I see is people want results without putting in consistent work every day. You have to put in hours and hours of work every day. I mean, there's people out there that are drawing, you know, 8 to 10 hours a day. If you're not doing that much, you know, how can you expect to get better quickly, right? Even in college, I was drawing and painting at least 8 hours a day. So and I saw huge improvements within a short period of time, within months, right? Like 3 months, I would level up, you know. And that's what you got to do. You really have to make time to focus on the art and doing studies and all that stuff. Isaiah is saying, when I finish college, I will do a good portfolio with all the things I have to do and see in which level I am. Yeah. Yeah, always push yourself. Don't wait. That's what most people do, is they just wait. Don't wait. Always think ahead. Always plan ahead. Always, I mean, you know, there's always going to be healthy competition, right? Which I think is good. You know, always try to outdo each other. Not in an evil way, but, you know, just as competition, like a way to motivate each other. But you know, don't forget to have fun. You need to have fun, you know what I mean? Meaning with your art. I'm not talking about just like having fun, like doing whatever, but have fun doing the art. Sometimes I think people do forget to have fun with the artwork. Always try to have fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong, I think. Or at least you have to change or adjust your mentality a bit. Find ways to make it fun. Alright, I gotta get quicker with this. It's taking forever to clean up. There's like, again, I'm just not used to it. I feel like I gotta be super clean with it, and then I'm getting confused by the layers. Yeah. Alright, let's start with the top part here. Let's not do the whole thing at once. Meaning I'll do it section by section. For those of you guys that are in the CG Spectrum course, how do you guys feel? Do you guys feel like you are in the appropriate course or class? Or do you feel like it's too advanced or too easy? Like, how do you feel? And again, it's probably not, it's impossible to get it perfect for everyone, right? In terms of where you should be, but you know, generally speaking. Martin says, I feel I am appropriate for my course. A lot of the stuff that I'm learning I already knew about because I came from design school. But when I get back from the mentors, I realize how much I have to learn before getting into advanced territory. Yeah, there's always things that you can learn and improve and solidify in terms of your understanding and skills of the fundamentals, right? Yeah, and they always have the advanced option within the coursework, right? You could do the basic coursework or the more advanced coursework within each class or each week's course or each week's work, right? They have that option. So yeah, you could always push things. You could always make things more complicated and more challenging for yourself within each assignment. Hey, Owldera. Owldera says, I'll be taking my intro to 3D course soon, so I'm excited for that. Awesome. Sounds good. This is actually for the 3D department, the stuff I'm doing right now. So this might be one of the earliest models that you do. Again, depending on approval, they might hate this, so we might have to do another one, but just doing it, just starting it up. So Penny, yeah, I saw your comment earlier. It is kind of weird that I'm doing this, but again, they want a simple beginner concept or beginner 3D model that would be appropriate for a beginner modeler. Or sorry, I mixed that up, huh? A 2D concept that would be appropriate for a beginner 3D artist. I don't know, I just thought of this idea and I thought it'd be fun. Maybe this should have stayed as a thumbnail. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't do too many explorations for this. I think this was my first idea and I just went with it. First idea is usually not the best idea, right? All right. No, it's. I think like when you're always painting in a certain style, or for a specific genre, it's always fun to take a break and do something different. At least for me, it is. Penny says, I'm learning a lot and I feel challenged, which is good, but I also get stuck very easily and can't figure out what direction I should take. I wish someone would yell at me. Oh, there's plenty of people that would love yelling at you. Yeah. It's interesting too, yeah, because depending on the student, right? Some students want you to be very critical of their work, while others, you know, if you're too critical, you would kind of destroy them, right? I mean, you would really discourage them from moving forward. So that's something that a lot of the mentors are experienced with in terms of, you know, understanding how to adjust your criticism and how to adjust giving feedback to a certain degree, depending on the student, right? Because as students, we all learn differently, right? It's true, I think. That's what I think. We all have different ways of learning that work best for us. And so, you know, as mentors, we do try our best to make those adjustments. Sometimes we get it wrong. But again, the point is that we're aware of that and we try our best to customize learning, right, as much as we can. And there are times when, you know, students need to be criticized for things that they're not doing right, especially when they don't do studies and they wonder why they're not getting better. That's my favorite thing to bug students about. I bug my students about that all the time. It's like, hey, you got to do your studies. Are you doing your studies? Are you getting reference? Are you studying reference? You know, don't just ask me, how do I render this? Did you do a study before you asked me, right? And most of the times the answer is no, I didn't do a study. I just want you to spoon feed me, right? And that's not a great way to think. You really want to be someone who figures out ways on your own. And the mentor is there to guide you, right? And to give you tips on things and to give you some direction, right? But you have to be motivated enough to really push yourself. I mean, the mentor will push you too, but you got to figure things out. Like, that's a lifelong lesson, right? You need to figure things out. Be proactive and figure things out. And then after trying, right? After you've tried on your own and you're still stuck, you still can't figure it out, then sure, I mean, ask your mentor. That's what the mentor's for, right? They have the experience, so they can help you out there. Penny, are you saying that because you're used to... Did your parents yell at you growing up? It's funny, the way I was always motivated by criticism, actually, because that's how I was brought up. Which is not a good thing, I think. But like when someone compliments me, that doesn't help me. It does sometimes, I guess, but most of the times it doesn't work. When someone criticizes me or says that I can't do something, then it makes me want to do it. It's so backwards, right? Someone has to tell me I suck, you can't do it, then I want to do it. If someone says, oh, you're doing great, then I'm like, okay, whatever. But again, everyone's different. Everyone's motivated differently, to some degree. And I've met people like that too, like myself, where you compliment them, it doesn't work. You make them feel horrible and they're like motivated. And then some people, they work great with encouragement, like positive reinforcement, right? You encourage them a little bit about like what they're doing right, then they take off and they do great, you know? So it is interesting how everyone's so different. Oops. I keep painting on the wrong layer. Oh boy. How do you guys paint this clean? Those people out there that paint super clean, I don't know how you guys do it. Because I can't do it. It just takes me forever. I'm probably doing it wrong. Probably a much easier way to do this. Martin Penny, so you don't feel like the videos that are in the coursework they're not detailed enough. They don't give you step-by-step direction. Again, it's hard to gauge that because for some people, they see, you know, a video like that and they'll be like, okay, this, I already get it. I get what the instructor's saying, and for some people, it's not enough. Hey, what's up, Patrick? Harsh critique is the best. Cool. Wait till you get some real harsh critique. Soul-destroying critiques. Well, yeah, there's, as you guys know, there's different levels of critiquing. Man, there can be real harsh critiques, like you think you're ready for it, but you're not. Are you sure you want to hear that kind of stuff? It's the kind of critique that you would only give to your family, well, at least for me, family members. Because, you know, with family members, you feel responsible for them. You're willing to be there with them through thick and thin. So you're gonna lay it down, at least I would, lay it down straight, like as raw as possible, you know what I mean? Because you're gonna be there for them. With certain people, I mean, you know, most people, you can't be there for them all the time. You're not going to be there with them like throughout every single season in their life, so you don't feel like it's appropriate to give feedback to them in a very raw way, if that makes sense. Because it could destroy people. It has the potential to destroy people. And that's coming from someone who, again, I got a lot of harsh critique from my parents. And it didn't destroy me, it just made me stronger, but I don't know, you know, I've seen what it did to some other people, and I've heard stories, and that makes me understand that everyone responds to critique differently, and it could destroy them, like lifelong. You know what I mean? It affects them forever. So I think you do have to be careful about how you critique people's work. They have to be ready for it, and it is a hard thing to. I mean, it's a challenging thing to gauge, but it's definitely an important thing. Because trust me, I can be very, very harsh if I wanted to be, but you know, you want to critique to a point where it's helpful to somebody. You don't want it to destroy somebody. You want it to be helpful. And if that means the critique will, you know, make them realize that they shouldn't pursue art, that's fine too. You know what I mean? Because I would never tell someone to not do this or that, but it's basically helping them to make a decision, right? You're giving them enough information, like that's from your own professional experience, and you're giving them advice and feedback so that they can make the decision ultimately, right? For what they want to do in their life, or how they want to, you know, approach their life. Sometimes the message could be the same, but the way you deliver a message is what's important, right? which can either destroy you or encourage you or whatever. But with family, we're often not too careful. Or at least I'm not. Oh boy. Let me just clean this iceberg up a little bit. It's bothering me. I mean, to be honest, again, like, even though I was used to harsh criticism, I mean, in my opinion, it was beyond harsh criticism that my parents gave me. It was like straight up discouragement. They wanted me to quit art. They never wanted me to do art. So they always kept saying I would fail. Things like that. I'd be poor. I would never make it. Yeah, so I think that's like different from criticism, right? That's like straight up just discouragement. And they critique my work too, of course, whenever they saw what I was working on. But again, I think their goal was to discourage me from doing art. But it backfired on them. Because again, I told you guys that made me want to do it even more. They didn't realize I was different. They should have encouraged me if they wanted me to quit art. I'll be like, ah, oh, you're encouraging me too much. Forget it. It's not fun anymore. But yeah, like, to be honest, looking back at what my parents had did, like, in some ways it was really good for me, because what it did, what it prepared me for were tough times that would come in the future. So there are going to be times when you wonder, am I good enough? Can I make it? You know, can I make it in the industry? And because my parents had already beat me up so much, when those discouraging times came, it didn't faze me. You know, my parents had already discouraged me for years, so, you know, it didn't faze me at all. I just kept going. And again, like, when people say, oh, give me more critiques, sometimes I wonder, you know, about how they're thinking, because I was probably my greatest critique. Or the harshest critique was coming from myself, sorry. So, you know, why can't you critique yourself, right? If you want harsh critique, all you gotta do is, like I said, compare your artwork to professionals' artwork. If you want more harsh critique, look at really good artists, one of the best artists, and compare your artwork side by side to their artwork. If it's not comparable, if your artwork sucks compared to it, then you got a long way to go. Do you know what I mean? Do you really need to get critiqued harshly by someone else for you to know that you have a long way to go? Does that make sense? Am I crazy? I always knew I had a long way to go. I always do, you know? I don't need more harsh critique. I already know I have a long way to go even now, so I don't need that critique. I already know. All right, I'm rambling. All right, let's get back to this tinfoil hat looking thing. And put some highlights on it. Hey, what's up, Margaret? How's it going? Margaret says she had a super hardcore teacher who would rip students' work if they were truly awful. He only does it for students who slacked off and thought drawing would be an easy elective. Right. I kind of have a different mindset, like the opposite, to be honest. Like, if I see students that have potential, and yeah, like, so if I see students that kind of they get it, they have real potential, I'll be more critical of their work, meaning I'll push them more. You know, I'll constantly push them more. Hey, you got to try this, try that. I'll just give them more information, more things they can try out to improve their artwork, right? Not that I'm ripping them apart, right? But it's just more, I'm giving them more to work on. If I see students that lack potential, meaning they don't get it, right? They don't know what it takes. They're not putting in the work. What's the point of ripping them off? I mean, being so harsh with them. They don't get it, right? They're not going to make it anyways. Why make it hard for them? I mean, what's the point of giving them all this information if they don't get it? They can't even work with the few, you know, tips that you already gave them. Well, what's the point of giving them more or pushing them more? Again, I could see, I'm not saying that's the best way to do things. I'm just saying that's kind of naturally my tendency or how I approach feedback to students. I know some mentors will be like, no, I want them to get how hard it is so they can quit if they have to quit. You know what I mean? If they don't get it, you need to lay it down so they'll quit. I don't know. You know what I mean? So it just depends. Aldera says Aldera welcomes harsh criticism. You welcome it maybe until you don't. If that makes sense. Yeah, again, maybe it's because again, I think instructors in general these days are less harsh, right? They're a little more careful. Yeah, but again, I think the whole point is that it's helpful, that criticism is helpful, no matter what, in which way, right? That it ends up being helpful to the student. Yeah. I mean, I had instructors in college that, yeah, literally, I mean, they were cussing at you. They were just yelling at you in front of everybody. They're like, yeah, they're ripping your artwork apart for good reason, to be honest. They're not crazy, but I question their methods, right? But it's true, like their method was just different from how I would approach it. You know, but they would cuss you out. They would see why did you put this piece of crap up on the wall, you know? It's trash. Those instructors were few, though, maybe just a couple out of like the whole school. JD Smith says Art Center is known for having instructors who will rip up down your work. Again, I went to Art Center, so I know there's a few instructors like that. Most of the instructors aren't like crazy, right? They're all pretty normal. But there were a few instructors that would do that, like they would cuss you out. They would cuss out the work. They would say like, just quit. Go home, quit. And yeah, maybe sometimes you need to hear that. It's true. But again, like if you really need to hear that, that means you're not being self-critical of yourself, of your own work, right? You got to be the harshest critic, in my opinion, because you're not going to have people next to you encouraging you all the time or criticizing you all the time. You need to be the voice of reason, right? You need to be the one who's checking yourself, right? Giving yourself sober judgment of your work, right? So that's something you have to develop, or each person has to develop. Hey JD Smith, thanks. Monday isn't so bad when you go to CG Spectrum, see this character coming along. That's what JD Smith said. it didn't really come along that much. I'm just cleaning it up a little bit right now. Antonis says harsh criticism can create strong relationships. Again, I completely agree with you. It's true for some people. I've seen it happen as well, you know, because you're being real with them, right? That's why I say it's usually the safer with family, because you're gonna be there for them, right? No matter what. So that's why I feel like I can be critical of someone is like raw in a raw way when I'm like a close friend. I'll be real with them, right? Completely real, without sugarcoating anything. I won't even give them a soft landing, right? I'll just tell it how it is, right? Because I know I'm going to be there for them, like 100%. But yeah, so it has the potential to create strong relationships. It could also break relationships when people aren't ready for it. That's why you have to assess where everyone's at. You have to assess where a student's at, where a student's mindset's at, all that stuff, or else you can do serious damage as well, right? And you don't want to do unnecessary damage either. That's my opinion. So you have to be careful about how you deliver messages and things like that. And again, that takes time. You need to get to know the student. You know what I mean? That's my approach, at least. You don't just come out like guns blazing, like without even knowing how the student will react, right? That's my opinion. JD Smith says, in all fairness, if I was a parent, I might try to discourage my kids from art as well, and I'm an artist. That's interesting, because I feel the same way. It's weird, because when I was younger, I always thought, again, why don't my parents let me, you know, take art classes and things like that? Because that's what I would beg them for me to do. I would say, please let me go to like an art class or like an art after school art program. I begged them for years to let me do that. They never let me do it. So I have to figure things out on my own. But again, the pro of that is it made me figure things out on my own. It made me tough, right? I didn't rely on anyone else to like do things for me, right? So, but at the same time, you know, sure, I might have missed out on getting really good at art early on. They made me do piano, and I hated piano. I was like, why am I doing piano? I hate it. I did piano for 3 years. It's like, it was horrible. And the teacher knew I sucked at it. Anyways. I still don't know how to play piano to this day, by the way. So don't make your kids do things they hate. But yeah, again, to go back to what you said, JD Smith, the reason why I say I wouldn't discourage my kids from doing art. That's not my mentality. I would not discourage them from doing anything. But I'm not encouraging them to do art right now. My kids one of them turned 9 just recently, and then the younger one's 6 years old. And they keep asking me to teach them how to draw, and I avoid it. Once in a while, I'll draw with them or whatever, but I avoid trying to teach them anything regarding art. I give them resources, like I'll give them some of my books, like reference stuff, things like that. But I do not want to like affect the way they think in some ways, like by directing them too specifically, if that makes sense. And I also know how difficult it is. Like, it's challenging to be successful as an artist, right? In the creative field. So I'm not going to encourage it at this point. Later on, when they're older, I will, you know, direct them a little bit more, things like that, but not right now. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, I'm sure some of you would disagree. Yeah, I want them to be tough, you know? I know how hard it is out there. I need them to be self-motivated and tough and know what they really want. Not because I encourage them or discourage them. They got to figure that out on their own. Let's throw some highlights down here. Oh, let's do that later. What I do want them to do actually is like when they're a little bit older, I want to really expose them to different 3D programs, or even you know, they already play around on Photoshop, so they'll paint on my Cintiq or on the iPad, things like that. So I just let them play around with stuff. I don't tell them exactly what to do, but I provide things for them so that they could play around with it. But yeah, later on I do want to expose them to more like 3D things like Blender or programs like that, so they just absorb things so quickly. So someone like myself who's older, it's so hard to get into new things. I mean, I'm like set in my ways already, you know? So exposing kids to things like that early on, I think, will be good. Like I teach them something in Photoshop and they like get it immediately. It's like I would think they're gonna forget, but they don't forget actually. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's JD Smith. Yeah, if you post your art in Reddit, yeah, online people will give it to you, right? They don't care. They don't know you. They'll just put a comment down and they'll rip you to shreds, right? Sometimes, depending on where you post, right? Yeah. Oh, so Margaret, you took 2 weeks off of work, huh? That's awesome. I need that. JD Smith says everyone's a gangster until teacher rips up their artwork they've stayed up all night working on. Yep. I mean, that happens to me at like my day job, or my real work, my concept artwork. I'll spend like a week on something, and then sometimes the art director or whoever will say, I hate it, start over. What is this crap? That's the worst feeling, actually. You spend, like, I'll do overtime, like I'll work hard on something, and then it gets ripped to shreds. And you're like, why did I work extra on this? I could have been playing with my kids. I put in extra hours on this thing and they still hate it. That happens once in a while. Aldera says, I feel like you also need to know when the critic is getting personal, because that could happen. Yep, we're all human, so sometimes even as mentors we make mistakes. I remember one time I had a student, and I don't know, I don't remember exactly why. I must have been in a bad mood for whatever, or stressed about something else. Maybe it was work, I don't know. I was already kind of in a not great mindset, right? And so when something came up during the mentor session, I kind of went off. It's unusual for me, but I went off meaning I didn't get crazy, but I just wasn't consistent in the way I had given this person feedback in the past. And so I caught myself like going a little far with the criticism, and I actually did apologize immediately, because I realized I wasn't being consistent, at least to that student. So that happens sometimes, and sometimes, yeah, you got to take a step back and correct yourself when you give. We all make mistakes. And again, though, in my opinion, the whole point of feedback and criticism is to be helpful to the student. You want to benefit the student in one way or another. If it's not helping that student, you did something wrong. JD Smith says, I had an instructor who spanked my vehicle design work. Spanked me. Today we're friends and we continue to inspire each other. Yeah, again, it's that thing where they're being real with you, right? And if they're being real with you and they're willing to stay with you through it all, right? Then there's great potential for a good relationship, right? When you're not being real with someone, it's just kind of a shallow relationship, right? But again, everyone's different. Some people aren't ready for it. You know what I mean? It's hard to gauge that. Margaret, you did piano too? Those Asian parents, man. They're not even thinking about why. They just do what everyone else is doing. You know what I mean? I'm like, why do I have to learn piano? I hate piano. They're like, everyone's doing it. You gotta learn piano. No, I don't. All I did in the piano, they have these little rooms with a piano in each room. They're like this tiny room where you could barely fit a piano in it. Like a soundproof room, right? And all I did in that room was, I remember I just read Dragon Ball comics while I was waiting for the teacher to like test me. Man, it was horrible. Oh, I forgot to do this buckle. Let's do this buckle. Hey, gaming souling, is it GME reference? You're talking about GameStop? To the moon? Sure, it could be like that too. Or Bitcoin? To the moon? No, I don't know. It's just this guy wanting to fly. That's how it started, and then, sure, to the moon. It could be related to anything. Antonis says, what should we do when we don't have time to study? I'm asking because I'm doing 2 works, background artist and 3D modeler. What do you mean that's your job? You do you're a background artist for like professionally? That's what you're doing? And a 3D modeler? I don't understand. Can you explain? Hey Martin Kang. Martin Kang. Give him diamond hands. Sure. I wonder if people know what you're talking about. Yeah, so I could answer your question, Antonis, in general. We all want more time, right? I wish I could stop time. I wish that was one of my superpowers where I could pause time. But I don't have that superpower. Yeah, we all wish we had more time. I understand what you're saying. So what's the difference? We all have same amount of time, right? 24 hours. Some of us are busier than others, for sure. What can you do? You got to lose sleep. That's one thing you could do, is cut your sleeping time. The other thing you could do is cut out all entertainment. Don't watch Netflix. Don't play games. Don't watch movies. Don't hang out with your friends. You know what I mean when you guys waste time with your friends? When you're just hanging out? Don't do any of that. Get rid of your hobbies. Cut everything out that's not necessary. Skip a meal. I'm saying all those things because that is what I did when I was in college. Not because I had to graduate college, but it's because I knew that I had to do all those things to get a job, basically, to get to a position where I was ready to apply for jobs, to get my portfolio ready, right? You got to make sacrifices. Yeah. I only slept, what? Average of, man, I don't know, like average maybe 3 hours a night. So sometimes it'd be 2 hours, sometimes 4 hours, sometimes no hours. One time I didn't sleep for three days in a row. Not because I had to get good grades at school. I didn't care about grades actually, but it's just to push myself, just to do the best I could on a project, on an assignment, on a portfolio piece. Yeah, I lost sleep for years. You know what I mean? I didn't watch any TV. I didn't watch any movies for years. Art was my life. I didn't do anything else. I didn't hang out with anyone else who didn't do art. All my friends were artists, or most of my friends, sorry, were people that I, you know, super motivated people around me. They would all stay up together, work on stuff. You have to make sacrifices. If you're not willing to make sacrifices, then I don't know. You know, I don't know what to say. You got to make time is what my point is. Sure, if you're working, it's much harder. I admit it. I knew people that were working part-time or even full-time as they're trying to go to school. I don't know how they did it, because that's a different thing. Because you have to perform at work as well, or you're going to lose your job, right? So you can't perform with 2 hours of sleep. You know what I mean? You can't. I don't know how you can do that, like consistently for like a year, let's say. I don't know how you can do that. For me, all I had to do was art. So I could be dressed like crap. Like I always like wore jeans and a white t-shirt. That's all I wore. I always wore a hat too, like I'm doing right now. Because I didn't want to worry. I didn't worry about how to do my hair. I didn't worry about what to wear. Nothing. I just was completely focused on my art. But when you're working, you do have to worry about what you wear. You do have to worry about how you do your hair, right? Things like that. And your relationships with people at work, things like that. There's just more things to deal with. And it definitely complicates things, I could imagine. So yeah, I don't envy you guys who have to work and study at the same time. It's a definite challenge. I would imagine you would have to segment your time out, like, right? When you focus on work and when you focus on your schoolwork or your studies, you have to be much more disciplined, I would imagine. See, I can't even talk and draw at the same time here. I don't know how you would work and study at the same time. Can't focus, because it's really about focus, like having that time to focus on something, like having laser focus. That's where you can grow the quickest. You'll see the fastest results with a concentrated workload. If you spread it out, it's hard to really grow. You need to be able to concentrate. And right now I can't concentrate, so look at the results. I'm trying to find excuses here. What Isaiah is saying, what do you recommend to be more active and stop procrastinating? Sometimes I feel scratchy and I don't want to do them. And I think they are difficult to do, but in the end they are easy. I'm not sure if I understand what you're asking, Isaiah. What do you recommend to be more active and stop procrastinating? Of course you can't procrastinate. And of course you have to be active, you have to be proactive. You feel scratchy? Take a shower. I'm just joking. Yeah, you always got to just do things. You have to get over your fears and just do it. That's another life lesson. People are afraid of doing things sometimes. I mean, all the time, right? And I understand. I mean, we're all afraid of certain things, right? We feel anxiety with certain things. But you got to learn to overcome all that. Meaning, like, your passion for something has to be greater than your fear. That's when you can overcome it, right? If your fear is greater than what you want to do or what you want to achieve, then you're not going to do it. So your passion for something has to be greater. Your desire for something has to be greater for you to overcome all those fears. I think everyone feels fear, right? To a certain degree. It's a matter of like overcoming it because of the other stronger desire. That's why I say, like, if you're afraid to do something or you don't want to do something, you got to find a way to want to do it. You got to make yourself want to do it. If it's something you have to do anyways, right? You got to figure a way out to make yourself want to do something. If you have to do it anyways. I couldn't do that with piano, so I just read Dragon Ball. At least I didn't completely waste my time. I read Dragon Ball comics. And that's what partially inspired me to do art as well. So I was just sitting there daydreaming. I made good use of my piano lesson time, reading them comic books, getting inspiration. Did you do that too, Martin? I'm talking to Martin Kang. He's actually my brother. Get a life, Martin. What are you doing here? Get a life, bro. But yeah, did you read the Dragon Ball comics too? I think he hated. Oh, he did the same thing, but didn't become an artist. Yeah, you should have read more comic books, man. Were you better than me at piano? I don't remember. Or do we both just suck? We had a sister that was much better at piano. Or basically everything. She was much she was better at everything than us. So we always got compared to our sister. Don't you love it when parents compare you to their siblings? It's the best. Yeah, Martin's my twin brother. We're not identical though. Although to some of you guys we might look identical, if you know what I mean. But we're not identical, we're fraternal twins. We both have pretty unique names for Asians, I think. Bernie, how many Asians do you know with the name Bernie or Martin? We do have another Martin here though. But he's not Asian. Let's go back and see what Antonis is saying. Oh, Isaiah says, sometimes I feel unmotivated and I think that what I do it wrong. Sure, we all go through that. Again, it's a life lesson. Like, you got to figure out how to motivate yourself, how to reset, how to have the correct thinking about things. We all go through, phases of lack of motivation or questioning what we're doing or feeling like we're just doing everything wrong. Yeah, take a break. take a walk, you know, clear your mind, rethink. It's not bad to rethink and question what you're doing, right? Sometimes it's a good thing, so you could re-solidify like your reasons for doing something. But yeah, try to get away from things is what I would say. Try to get away from what other people are saying. Try to get away from comparing yourself. Try to get away from things and try to think clearly, right? And you always have to find a way to, as soon as possible, move forward though. Antonis is saying, yeah, I'm doing some backgrounds for a small company as a junior artist and 3D modeling to a company that does some VR stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, you just got to make time. Maybe you have to cut out some of this stuff. Again, I don't know your situation, so it all depends on the person's situation, right? But sometimes you got to cut out things. You can't. I think it's in general a mistake to spread yourself evenly, like, right? To be divided like evenly. I think you gotta, it's like that in art too, right? In a composition, you shouldn't render everything evenly or have focal points in every area evenly. You need to focus on or decide on what you want to do at a given season or time in your life. You need to have a focus. And that's something that you need to decide is, what am I going to focus on right now in my life? Not that to say that you can't do other things on the side, you can, but again, what's your main focus? That's what you need to decide and focus on that. Don't try to do everything at once. That's usually a recipe for disaster, unless you're like one of those super like motivated people that can do like a million things at once. And again, that's rare, you know, you have to have super energy, super motivation to do that. Most people are not like that. So have a sober assessment of yourself too. Martin says, how do I watch the stream and work at the same time? You must be a genius. It runs in the genes. I'm just kidding. Because I can't do it. JD Smith says, I was able to work a part-time job the first 3 term semesters of my education. After that, I had to quit and do school full-time. Yep, you eventually have to decide what you want to focus on in the season in your life, right? You need to have a focus or else you'll end up doing nothing, basically. You need to decide. And it's not easy, but you have to decide what you want to focus on. In any part of life, like for me right now, my focus isn't the art, to be honest. It's not the arts. It used to be, but it's not right now. My focus are my kids right now. That's my focus. My family, my kids. So that's something you have to mentally decide on so that you're not confused later on. You're not trying to do everything at the same time, because then I might ruin my relationship with my kids. I might ruin my relationship with my wife. I might ruin my artistic career too. I might ruin everything by trying to do everything, right? All right, we agree, Martin. We both sucked at piano. I might have been slightly better than you. I don't remember, actually. Isaiah, I think you actually... Sorry, Martin, I think you actually worked harder than I did at piano, though. You actually tried more than I did. I think I just didn't care and I checked out. Isaiah says, is that when I am lazy, I find what I'm going to do difficult. But when I start to do it, at the end, it's easy and I enjoy it. Sure, like I see that as like working out, right? That's my mentality towards exercising. Like, I don't want to do it, but when I do it, it's not that bad. I actually enjoy it. I never regret exercising, right? Once I get myself, force myself to do it, it's good. So maybe that's what you're talking about with art, this kind of art. Yeah, you just got to do it. You have to do it. You have to put in the work. If you don't, you can't put in the work, then what are you going to do, right? You're in the wrong field because it's so competitive. You have to, the work, the hours are a given. You have to put that in or you can't even participate, right? You can't expect to participate in this game because this is high level stuff. Like you got people that are pushing themselves, you know. Margaret says, my sisters have, yeah, I think Margaret has two sisters. My sisters have both achieved more than I have at this point. It's me putting pressure on myself with that knowledge. Oh, so your parents don't compare you, but it's you putting pressure? Sure, I could understand that. Antona says, really my motivation is to come to CG Spectrum, study full-time on my studies. That's why I'm working so much. Yeah, there's a time when you have to save up money, right? To do what you want to do. When you're paying for your own thing, you're gonna feel super motivated because you earned that money, right? It's not like someone just gave it to you for free. Like it's not like your parents paid for it, right? So I believe that you'll be even more motivated when you're going to school because you're like, dude, I earned that money really, you know, working every day. When I'm a student, I'm gonna work my butt off, right? And that's a good way to think. I'm not gonna let it go to waste. You're gonna make the most out of it. Push yourselves. Don't wait for someone to push you. Don't wait for me to push you. Martin, push yourself. What are you doing, Martin? I'm talking to Martin Kang. I'm just messing. I just want to yell at my brother. Martin says, dude, we learned the... What? The Korean way? I wish we learned music more creatively. Sure. Margaret says, oh, my parents just stopped comparing because it's kind of hopeless. Oh, man. Martin says, you remind me of my dad. I hate you. I'm just kidding. That's actually a huge insult. There's good things about our dad. So it could be a compliment. I'll take it as a compliment instead. There is always hope, Margaret. There's always hope. As long as we're not delusional, there's always hope. I say that because then I was thinking, oh, but there are those delusional people. I don't know about that. You gotta stay within reality. But there is hope for us sane people. There's hope for this guy to fly. Maybe there isn't. To the moon, Martin. Alright, I want to put in a highlight on the beak. Where's that beak at? My kids do Taekwondo right now. You guys know the martial art Taekwondo? It's a Korean martial arts. And they've all told me at different times that they wanted to quit. They're a blue belt right now, so they've been doing it for quite a while. But at different times they've cried because the teacher's pretty harsh, actually, the master. So at different times they've cried and they told me they want to quit. And I always tell them, go ahead, quit. If you want to quit, I'm not going to stop you. And they all, every time they decide to continue when I say that. But I'm serious, I would let them quit. But I explain to them what's going to happen if they quit. Meaning, you know, I'm like, you can't go back. If you quit now, I'm never going to let you do Taekwondo again. I'm like, you want to quit? That's up to you, but you can never do it again if you can't change your mind again. That's it for you. Your brother's going to beat you up. But yeah, every single time they change their mind later. Because I'm reminded of when I wanted to, or when I didn't want to do piano and my parents forced me to do it. I hated it. Tony says he got to green belt blue tag in Taekwondo before I gave it up. Blue tag? Oh, are the tags like the things they give you, like you have to get multiple like tags until you get the next belt? Is that what you're talking about? Maybe that they had like some kind of sticker thing. Is that the same thing? Why did you give up, Tony? Dude, I got distracted. I forgot what I was doing. I was trying to do the beak. Oh, you got bored of it? Yeah, I could see that happening. You could grow out of it, right? Like you end up getting different interests, right? You don't have the time for it anymore. Margaret says I was watching BlizzCon, specifically the interview with Gerald Brom. I suddenly realized that you showed me some of his work before. Is that his first name, Gerald? I didn't even know that. No wonder why he goes by his last name. I'm just kidding. He seems like the most normal, friendly guy, even though his works are dark and creepy. No, that's his other side. He's two-faced, so he has to have a normal face or a normal way of socializing with normal people to appear normal, right? His real side is the dark and creepy side. I'm just messing around. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's cool. I mean, for some people, art is just art, right? And then for other people, it's really showing a part of themselves, right? That's why everything I draw looks evil, but this one doesn't look evil. This penguin looks pretty innocent. But yeah, like, that's cool. By the way, if you guys like the stream, please give me a like. It helps out the school as well. Just take a few seconds to give me a like. Thank you. Tony said, then I decided to go back a few years later, and beforehand I'd been pretty good at it, but my friend that decided to stick with it by that point was like a black belt. And he was like, if only I'd stayed, that would be me. Yeah, that's what I tell my kids. I say, look, you guys quit now, and that's fine with me, but you know, you won't be a black belt, and I'll never let you go back to doing it. Because I'm not going to let you keep changing your mind. So, yep. But anyways, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not even about being a black belt, for me at least, for the kids. It's just good discipline for them. I think just training them, having them have the mindset of training, like understanding what it means to train and to do something consistently, right? And to see results because of your training. I think that aspect is what I want to instill in them. And that's what I like about having them do Taekwondo. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Martin. Thanks for supporting your brother, Martin. Get a life. I'm just joking. Alright, cool. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Sorry I didn't get too much done. I was just rambling the whole time today for 2 hours. But I at least cleaned it up a little bit. I think next week I will be done with this one for sure. We'll do one more session on this guy and try different things. Still got a while to go, so I think 2 hours will be good enough for this. Cool. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Audrey. Thanks, Tony. Have a good week, guys. Stay motivated. Keep going. All right, thanks. See ya. Bye.